I was living in a single-room occupancy building, an SRO, until it was taken from me. That act forced me onto the streets. Before I became homeless, I had a life. I'm a minister, and I was once an opera singer. Homelessness can affect anyone in the United States. Despite America's reputation for strong development and opportunity, the reality remains grim. 771,480 people are currently homeless, reflecting an 18% increase compared to 2023. This means that, for every 10,000 Americans, approximately 23 individuals are without shelter. Makeshift tents line sidewalks, people sleep in the shadows of towering buildings, and entire families are forced to spend the night in their cars because they cannot afford rent. These are no longer rare occurrences, they are common sights across the nation. Rent prices continue to surge, taxes remain high, and the cost of living grows increasingly burdensome. Even those with full-time jobs struggle to survive. How is it that one of the wealthiest and most powerful nations in the world has hundreds of thousands of people without homes? Is there a solution to this crisis? To understand the scope of the problem, let's explore the 10 U.S. cities with the highest homeless populations. In these places, we will encounter the most honest and heartbreaking stories about a national tragedy unfolding in the heart of prosperous America. New York City. New York City, the most populous metropolis in the United States, is often seen as the gateway to opportunity, the place where people go to chase the American dream. But does that dream still exist? While the city boasts thousands of glittering skyscrapers, upscale shopping districts, and world-class entertainment, a different truth lies beneath the surface. Cardboard boxes have become beds. Park benches serve as mattresses. Damp alleys offer temporary refuge for over 300,000 homeless people. New York now holds the grim distinction of having the highest homeless population in the nation. Over the past 2 decades, the number of homeless individuals in the city has surged by an astonishing 175%. During the pandemic, eviction moratoriums and emergency rental assistance programs led to a temporary 25% drop in homelessness. However, this decline was short-lived. As soon as these policies expired, the crisis reignited. In the bustling chaos of Times Square, where tourists snap selfies in front of massive LED billboards, there are hidden corners most people overlook. A man leans against the cold exterior wall of a luxury fashion store. Just a few steps away, a group of well-dressed young adults emerge from an exclusive bar, laughing about their upcoming trip to Europe. Two vastly different worlds coexist here, separated by mere feet, yet emotionally and economically worlds apart. Midtown, once a thriving business hub, is now witnessing the slow disappearance of retail stores. The reason isn't a lack of tourists. It's more complicated. Business owners are increasingly concerned about safety, as the entrances to their shops are becoming makeshift shelters. The city has invested millions into programs aimed at helping the homeless, but the effectiveness of these efforts remains uncertain. Community outreach teams still walk the streets, gathering stories and data. Yet it's unclear how many people actually receive the assistance they so desperately need. Whether these programs can restore New York's image as the city of dreams remains to be seen. For tens of thousands, that dream is being tested like never before. Los Angeles is a city of stark contrasts. It's where you might see celebrities and millionaires stepping out of luxury cars into restaurants where a single meal costs thousands of dollars. But it's also a place where thousands of people don't have a home, or even enough money for a basic meal. As one of the most dynamic urban centers in America, Los Angeles is now grappling with a severe homelessness crisis. In 2024, the city recorded a 28% increase in its homeless population, bringing the total to an alarming 11,141 individuals. This represents a 55% rise since 2013 and a 41% surge in just 4 years. These numbers are no longer abstract, they represent real people enduring a daily struggle to survive. Skid Row is the epicenter of this crisis. It's home to shelters, food banks, and other vital services, but it's also known for its dangerous and volatile conditions. According to one resident, Everything needed to survive can be found in Skid Row, but safety is never guaranteed. Tent cities stretch along sidewalks, forming a heartbreaking contrast to the gleaming skyscrapers above. What's driving this rise in homelessness? The primary culprit is the skyrocketing cost of living. The median home price in Los Angeles has soared to approximately $912,500, nearly 3 times the national average. Homeownership is no longer a realistic goal for many residents. Even renting is becoming unmanageable. The average cost of a 2-bedroom apartment now stands at $2,570 per month, nearly $1,200 more than the national average. These financial burdens are forcing people to make impossible choices between paying rent or affording basic necessities, pushing many into homelessness. Compounding the issue is Los Angeles' sprawling urban layout and dependency on personal vehicles. Long commute times, heavy traffic, and gas prices that are 30 to 40% higher than the national average all make daily life more difficult. Public transportation, while present, is not nearly as accessible or efficient as in other major U.S. cities, making it hard for struggling residents to find alternatives. Can Los Angeles find a way to reconcile its economic growth with its growing humanitarian crisis? That remains uncertain. But one thing is clear. The decisions made now, both by policymakers and communities, will determine the future of this deeply divided city. Chicago. If you're looking to experience the coldest winters in the United States, visit Chicago. That may sound romantic if you're wrapped in warm clothes or relaxing inside a heated apartment. But for the homeless, it's a brutal, unrelenting reality. On a frigid winter day, as most Chicagoans hurried indoors to escape the freezing snow, many had no shelter at all. Maria Ganopoulos has spent the past 3 years living in a makeshift tent alongside her husband, Jermaine, their dog, and a kitten. When snow sticks to windshields and the air bites at exposed skin, most people would retreat indoors. But for Maria, this is her daily life. Scattered bags, torn blankets, and cardboard boxes mark the fragile boundaries of the homeless existence. Despite her dire situation, Maria is still considered more fortunate than others. Just blocks away, some individuals don't even have a tent, only a few thin blankets to shield them from the wind. Chicago was once a proud symbol of American industry. But the collapse of manufacturing has led to widespread job losses. Manual labor positions have dwindled, even as housing prices have soared. Many who once had a place to live now face the cruel choice: eat well, or keep a roof over their heads for another month. Desperate to secure stable housing, many homeless residents have applied for assistance multiple times over the past 2 years, only to be repeatedly denied. They ask themselves what more they can possibly do, as even their most basic needs go unmet. While some watch the snow fall from the comfort of their homes, others in Chicago battle hunger, cold, and uncertainty. In the busy West Loop district, life continues for the city's more fortunate, while the homeless remain overlooked. But how much longer can they go on like this before real hope and help arrive? Las Vegas, a city famous for its dazzling lights, glamorous casinos, and the possibility of life-changing fortune in a single night. Known as the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas never sleeps. Millions of tourists visit each year, gambling, partying, and chasing excitement. But behind the neon lights and spectacle lies another truth, one few choose to acknowledge. Las Vegas is also one of the most prominent homelessness hotspots in the United States. Not everyone here lives in luxury. Many reside in the shadows of the city's extravagance, struggling to get by, unnoticed and unsupported. The contrast between opulence and poverty in Las Vegas is staggering. Just beyond the Las Vegas Strip, where tourists spend thousands of dollars on shows, buffets, and designer clothing, there are hundreds of homeless encampments hidden in alleyways, behind parking garages, and even in the storm drain tunnels beneath the city. These underground tunnels, originally built to protect the city from flash floods, have become an eerie shelter for hundreds of people. It's estimated that more than 1,000 individuals live in these dangerous, dark conditions, surrounded by mold, insects, and sewage runoff. Many of these individuals once worked in the service and tourism industries. But when the pandemic shut down casinos and hospitality businesses, thousands were laid off. Without income and facing sky-high rents, many lost their homes. Once displaced, it became nearly impossible to recover. Mental health issues and drug addiction, often consequences rather than causes of homelessness, became widespread. Despite efforts from local nonprofits and outreach programs, Las Vegas continues to see a rise in its homeless population. Shelters are overwhelmed, and resources are limited. Meanwhile, tourists stroll through Fremont Street, enjoying cocktails and music, often unaware that just blocks away, someone is struggling to find their next meal. In a city built on dreams and illusions, the reality for thousands is anything but glamorous. San Francisco, once a beacon of innovation and prosperity, is now grappling with one of the worst homelessness crises in the nation. The city is home to tech giants, billion-dollar startups, and some of the highest real estate values in the United States. Yet, it also hosts a growing population of unsheltered individuals who sleep on sidewalks, under overpasses, and in public parks. The main driver of homelessness in San Francisco is the astronomical cost of living. The average rent for a one-bedroom apartment exceeds $3,000 per month. Even individuals earning $80,000 annually often struggle to make ends meet. For low-income residents and those on fixed incomes, staying housed has become nearly impossible. As a result, San Francisco's homeless population has ballooned. Entire blocks of the Tenderloin district are lined with tents and improvised shelters. The city has invested heavily in services, spending over $1 billion in the last decade on homelessness, but the problem has not improved. In fact, the visible presence of homelessness has become one of the city's defining characteristics, sparking frustration from residents and concern from health and safety officials. Mental health issues, substance abuse, and lack of affordable housing continue to plague the city. Public restrooms are rare, shelters are often at capacity, and drug overdoses are a leading cause of death among the homeless. While the city debates controversial measures like forced treatment and increased police presence, those on the streets continue to wait, often in vain, for a better tomorrow. Seattle, nestled in the Pacific Northwest and home to companies like Amazon and Microsoft, is another city with a booming economy and a worsening homelessness crisis. The city's population has grown rapidly over the past 2 decades, but housing development has not kept pace. As demand surged, prices skyrocketed, pushing thousands into homelessness. In 2024, Seattle reported over 13,000 people experiencing homelessness. Like San Francisco and Los Angeles, many of these individuals are not unemployed. They are working-class citizens who simply cannot afford the cost of living. Seattle's political leaders face intense pressure. Efforts to clear encampments have been met with protests and lawsuits, while proposals for more affordable housing are frequently delayed by zoning laws and neighborhood opposition. Meanwhile, the crisis continues to grow, quietly but relentlessly. Phoenix, Arizona, is now among the fastest-growing cities in the U.S., both in population and homelessness. Once considered an affordable place to live, Phoenix has seen dramatic rent increases in recent years. Between 2020 and 2024, the average rent rose by over 40%, pricing out many longtime residents. The city's desert climate creates another deadly challenge: extreme heat. During the summer months, temperatures can exceed 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 43 degrees Celsius, and shade is limited. For the homeless, heat exhaustion, dehydration, and heat stroke are constant threats. In 2023 alone, more than 300 homeless individuals died from heat-related causes in the Phoenix area. Shelters are limited and often full. The city's Human Services Campus, a cluster of nonprofits and outreach services, serves thousands, but demand consistently outpaces supply. Encampments grow larger each month, and many residents sleep on concrete sidewalks exposed to the sun. Efforts to combat homelessness include building cooling centers, expanding shelter access, and deploying outreach teams. However, the sheer pace of the crisis is difficult to contain. Many residents who work full-time still cannot afford rent, leaving them one emergency away from sleeping on the streets. In Phoenix, survival itself is a daily struggle, one that intensifies as the city continues to grow. Washington, D.C., in the capital of the United States, the symbols of power, Congress, the White House, the Supreme Court, stand just blocks away from tents and tarps. Washington, D.C., has one of the highest homelessness rates per capita in the country, with thousands living unsheltered despite being surrounded by the nation's lawmakers. The city's unique political environment creates both opportunity and conflict. Federal and local governments often clash over how to address homelessness, while nonprofits scramble to fill the gaps. Shelters operate near capacity, and many programs focus on housing first, getting people indoors before addressing deeper issues like mental health or addiction. However, public housing in D.C. is scarce, and waiting lists are long. Evictions, especially following the expiration of pandemic-era protections, have pushed more families into homelessness. Meanwhile, luxury condos and office buildings continue to rise, leaving many to question the city's priorities. On cold nights, individuals huddle near steam grates or inside metro stations to escape the elements. Advocates argue that without systemic changes, like rent control, healthcare reform, and expanded housing access, the problem will continue to escalate. Even in the shadow of American democracy, the most vulnerable struggle to be seen, heard, and housed. Boston, one of America's oldest cities, with its colonial architecture and prestigious universities, has not been spared from the nation's growing homelessness epidemic. While the city has made efforts to provide shelter beds and healthcare access, systemic issues continue to push thousands into the margins. In 2024, Boston recorded more than 6,000 individuals experiencing homelessness, with hundreds sleeping unsheltered each night. Winter poses a deadly threat. Frigid temperatures and snowstorms make sleeping outdoors dangerous, even fatal. Each year, outreach teams rush to save lives during the coldest months, distributing blankets, hot meals, and emergency supplies. Yet shelters often lack enough space, especially for families and those with mental health conditions. A particularly controversial point in Boston's recent history was the clearing of Mass and Cass, a sprawling homeless encampment near Massachusetts Avenue and Melnia Cass Boulevard. Known for its concentration of addiction, mental illness, and street-level suffering, the area drew national attention. Officials attempted to clear the encampments and offer services, but the underlying issues, lack of affordable housing, underfunded mental health care, and income inequality, remained. Today, Boston stands as a city striving to balance compassion and policy. But for many living on the streets, the promises of reform remain out of reach.